What is it that makes champagne from France or Darjeeling tea from India so special? It's really more than just the name, isn't it? It's like a guarantee of quality, a promise that it comes from that one specific place. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the powerful legal tool that protects these regional treasures. It's called Geographical Indications, or GIs for short. Let's break down exactly how it all works.
So, let's start with a quick question. What do you think connects something like Darjeeling tea, the bubbly magic of champagne, and the incredible feel of Mysore silk? I mean, besides being famous, of course. Well, you probably guessed it. It's their origin. Each one of them has a legally protected identity that is completely tied to its geographical roots. And that, right there, is the whole point of a GI. It's there to protect that unique, almost magical connection.
All right, here's our game plan for this explainer. First up, we're going to cover the absolute basics, what a GI even is. Then, we'll get into the interesting stuff, what can't be registered. After that, we'll look at how these rights are actually protected and enforced. Then, we'll map out the step-by-step process for getting a GI. And finally, we'll zoom out and take a look at the entire GI landscape here in India.
Okay, let's dive right in and start with the most fundamental question. What exactly is a geographical indication?
So at its very core, what are we talking about? Think of a GI as a product's birth certificate and its resume, all rolled into one. It's basically a sign, a label that does two really important things. First, it guarantees a product comes from a specific place. And second, it tells you that its special qualities, the taste, the texture, the way it's made, are a direct result of that place. We're talking about that unique blend of local climate, the soil, and of course, generations of human skill that gives the product its true identity.
And this isn't just about fancy wines and cheeses. The GI system is actually incredibly broad. It covers 34 different classes of goods. I mean, we're talking about everything from agricultural products and handicrafts, all the way to industrial chemicals and even graphic logos. It just goes to show how versatile GIs are for protecting all sorts of regional specialties. Okay, so you might be thinking, can any product with a place name on it get a GI? Well, not exactly. There's actually a pretty strict set of rules in place to filter out applications that just don't make the cut. So what are the things that will get an application immediately rejected?
Yeah, the law is super clear on this. An application will get tossed out if it's misleading, if it's offensive, or if it breaks any existing laws. That also includes anything that could hurt religious feelings. But, one of the most fascinating reasons for refusal is when a name becomes generic. Just think about the word cheddar. It originally came from a village in England, right? But now it just means a type of cheese you can literally make anywhere. So once a name loses that specific geographic link in our minds, it can't be protected as a GI anymore.
So once a product actually gets that GI registration, how is its value protected? I mean, a right is only as good as your ability to defend it, right? This brings us to the whole legal framework for protection and enforcement.
So how does the law actually shield these GIs? Well, India uses what's called a sui generis system. I know, it's a fancy Latin term, but it just means in a class of its own. So instead of trying to cram GIs into existing laws like trademarks or patents, this is a totally custom-built legal framework. It's like having a specialized tool that's designed for one very specific job, protecting that priceless link between a product and its home.
Now, let's clear something up that can be a bit confusing. GIs are not the same as collective marks or certification marks. A collective mark is all about the who. It shows a product is from a member of a certain group, like an association. A certification mark is about the what. It guarantees the product meets a specific quality standard, no matter where it's from. But a GI is special because it combines everything. It's about where a product comes from and the unique qualities that place gives it.
So what happens if somebody tries to sell, say, fake Darjeeling tea? Well, the law has some serious teeth. Protection comes in three main flavors. You've got civil actions, where you can get a court order to make them stop and even sue for damages. Then, things can get criminal, with much heavier penalties for the person copying the product. And on top of all that, government bodies can step in and take administrative action. It's this layered defense that really makes sure the value of a GI stays protected.
Okay, this all sounds pretty great in theory, but how does a product actually get registered as a GI? Let's walk through the practical, step-by-step roadmap for making it happen. Getting a GI registered is definitely a journey, and there are several key checkpoints along the way. It all kicks off with filing the application. Then an official registrar puts it under a microscope, looking for any issues. If they find a problem, the applicant gets what's called a show cause notice and has to defend their case.
Once it gets past that stage, the proposed GI is published for everyone to see, so people can challenge it if they want. If nobody objects, then congratulations, the GI is officially registered. And that protection lasts for a solid 10 years, and you can even renew it to keep that legacy going.
And what do you actually need to file? Well, it's really all about providing the proof. You'll submit the application forms, of course, but the real heart of it is the statement of case. This is where you make your argument for why your product is totally unique to its region. You also have to be super specific. You need to define the product precisely and, this is crucial, provide a map that draws the exact boundary of where it can be produced. It's that level of detail that makes the GI protection so powerful.
Okay, now that we've gone through all the nuts and bolts, let's zoom out for a second and look at just how big the world of geographical indications is across India.
So, how big of a deal is this in India? Get this, as of 2021, there were 370 registered GIs across the country. That is 370 unique products whose heritage and quality are now legally protected. It just goes to show how incredibly important this system is for India's rich cultural and agricultural landscape.
So what kinds of things are getting GI tags? The breakdown is actually really fascinating. The lion's share, over half, belongs to handicrafts. We're talking about iconic textiles like Mysore silk. Agriculture is next, protecting beloved products like Darjeeling tea. And the rest is a mix of all sorts of unique foods and other goods. This really shines a light on how GIs act as a shield for the incredible skills of both India's artisans and its farmers.
And all of this brings us to one last question for you. Every single region has its own hidden treasures, right? A unique craft, a special crop, maybe a local delicacy that's just amazing. So what's the one product from your area that you think deserves this kind of protection? Let us know down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and if you learned something new, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more explainers like this one.